Hello and welcome to another serving of Convention Tea. I am the Wisteria Witch and welcome to my virtual cottage where today we will be talking about San Diego Comic-Con 2024. So San Diego Comic-Con 2024, this was, I want to say, we've been going to this con for like on and off, but since things have been coming back from lockdown since a special edition of the show back in I want to say around 2021, 2022. You can look that up on our website. We've been going to San Diego Comic Con like almost every year. It's been an honor to be invited by San Diego Comic Con to do panels, to talk about anime, because for some reason we've been like the token anime scholars at San Diego Comic Con. It's a really exciting convention that we do. I've never imagined in my wildest dreams that we would be doing panels here at San Diego Comic Con, and it has just been one wild adventure. So, with that said, let's just without any further ado, let's just get started here on San Diego Comic Con. Just give me one moment here. And if this is your first time tuning into Convention Tea, allow us to introduce ourselves. First of all, I am the Wisteria Witch, aka Nadeshiko Gatsby, aka Cosplay Ancestor Airy. That is my human form. And I've been doing conventions since Anime Expo 1999. I mean, can you believe that? I've been around for quite a bit. And also, I've been running a website called Scarlet Rhapsody since the year 2000. We started out as a radio play production company producing original content. And after attending Anime Expo 2000, I was like, you know what? I really should make convention reports, do blogs, show off photos, and talk about my experience at these conventions, because I just had so much fun at like my first major anime convention, which was Anime Expo 2000 at the Disneyland Hotel and Resort. And since then, we've been covering conventions from coast to coast. We've been covering pop culture conventions. We've covered like some even very specific conventions like Idol conventions, Power Rangers conventions, Transformers conventions. And I really like talking about con culture. I really like presenting about con culture. And you can read more about that in my upcoming book, The Fangirl Diaries. And I hope you get to take a read at that sometime in the future. Okay. All right, so let's talk about San Diego Comic Con 2024. San Diego Comic Con took place at its usual site of the San Diego Convention Center in the heart of downtown San Diego. This is one of my favorite locations for conventions. Downtown San Diego, there's a lot going on. Not only you have San Diego Comic Con, the official event, you also have some unofficial offsites in celebration of geek culture. So you can kind of see here, this is the lamp district. And basically, you can see here like a SpongeBob themed like experience. You also have a Mayfair, which is themed experience. You also had the Peacock streaming service also promoting some of their upcoming shows for the fall. So the media goes all out here. Even Paramount, every year they have something called the Lodge to show off their future presentations, whether it's for television, made for TV, feature length stuff. So San Diego Comic Con, it is definitely alive and kicking after lockdown, and especially after last year when we had the writer's strike. So we spent about all 4 days at San Diego Comic Con. People call this a 5-day event because of preview night. However, excuse me. Give me one second here. Yeah. However, San Diego Comic Con, I would say I would say like, yeah, you just need 4 days. Preview night takes place on Wednesday evening, and it's kind of like their day zero for the event. So you can actually roam around the dealer's hall. You can do a little bit of shopping. You can get your hands on some of those exclusives before everything officially opens up on Thursday. So a lot of people, they do the preview night thing. We didn't do the preview night thing because I had to take care of a few things. So let's move on and see what else San Diego Comic Con has in store. All right, so San Diego Comic Con, it is definitely also one of those cosplay destination conventions. There's a lot of really amazing places to take photos, and you do see like a lot of pop culture represented within fandom here at San Diego Comic Con. So at San Diego Comic Con, I decided to cosplay as Taylor Swift from the Eras Tour. You can see here is me in the Evermore era outfit that she wore on the North American leg of the tour, the first before she added Tortured Poets Department for those keeping up at home. You can see this version on the Disney Plus live version. So this is her witchy Stevie Nicks inspired set in the Evermore era section. She has like this witchy song called Willow, and it's a really beautiful set piece. You can look it up on YouTube, especially if you're into cottagecore, goblincore, hobbitcore, witch aesthetics. I think you would enjoy watching the performance of Willow by Taylor Swift. Also, I had to represent some Genshin because guess what? Genshin is still alive and kicking as a fandom. In fact, all of MiHoYoverse is a huge thing. That's still a thing right now with Honkai Star Rail and that other new game I'm not too familiar with. Genshin is still a thing, and believe it or not, MiHoYo had a couple of booths at the convention, and there were times when I actually did catch MiHoYo filming at San Diego Comic Con. So that was actually pretty interesting, just seeing that MiHoYo also had a presence at San Diego Comic Con. And here I am just representing it by cosplaying as my favorite pirate, Beidou. Also, this is just coincidence, but for my panel, in my Y2K era, the rise of anime fandom at the turn of the millennium, I wanted to cosplay something old school. And lo and behold, I did have a Ranma cosplay that I was working on. And mind you, I was working on this cosplay before they announced that Rumiko Takahashi was going to put out a brand new anime for Ranma produced by MAPPA, the animation studio. So I decided to cosplay as girl type Ranma from the second movie. And I kind of get, yeah, it is San Diego Comic Con, and we might not be all too familiar with Eastern pop culture. I got a lot of people mistaking me for Ariel when I was cosplaying as girl type Ranma. And sometimes like, okay, I need to explain to you what Ranma is. I mean, yeah, we both Ariel and Ranma are from 1989. But yeah, I got a lot of like, oh my God, it's Ariel. Like Ariel, can you take a photo with us? Ariel, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, guys, I'm Ranma. I'm not a little mermaid. I'm a unfortunate martial artist who fell into springs and now is cursed with turning into a girl anytime water is splashed on them. Okay, so something I always like talking about in my convention streaming, this and that, is what were the popular fandoms. So definitely Hazbin Hotel. Hazbin Hotel had a huge presence among Gen Zs at San Diego Comic Con. We also had a lot of Deadpools and Wolverines. Unfortunately, I didn't get like a lot of photos of Wolverines. But enjoy this Deadpool with this brain monster thing I'm not too familiar with. And then we also had like a glistening number of One Piece cosplayers. On Saturday evening, we had the One Piece concert. And that was also considered an offsite, well, kind of sort of an offsite, because you just had to show that you had a badge for any day of San Diego Comic Con, and you can watch a free One Piece concert. So we had like a lot of folks cosplaying for One Piece because that is like one of like the most popular animes right now. I still need to get into it. I tried watching the first couple of episodes when they came out. I want to say back in the early 2000s. Just couldn't get into it. The clown kind of scared me, but you know what? I'm willing to give it a second chance. Can't sleep, clown will eat me. Also, another section I like to call surprise fandoms. Fandoms I did not expect to be cosplayed at San Diego Comic Con. So we have Marge Simpson here. It always makes me happy seeing like Simpsons cosplayers because I also cosplay as Malibu Stacy before she got her new hat. And if you get that reference, yeah, you deserve a senior discount over at Red Robin's. And then also we have a mix of Wizard of Oz franchises. So we have Glinda from Wicked, and we have Judy Garland Dorothy from the 1930s Wizard of Oz. And I was also very happy to see Bridgerton cosplayers. Like, oh my goodness, like we have like Penelope's sisters here, and they had cutouts of their love interest. So I was just very happy to see the sisters from Bridgerton represented. So like, oh my god, yay, Bridgerton! Nice to see that romantasy is also alive and kicking at Comic Con, because there are a lot of book vendors that were also selling a romantasy series. I'm slowly getting into romantasy, but what isn't a romantasy is my upcoming book, The Fangirl Diaries. You can check out the link in the description to pre-order your copy today straight from McFarlane Publishing. The Fangirl Diaries is basically a personalized memoir, a lived experience of what was it like being a teen, what was it like being cringe in anime fandom in the 90s and 2000s. I cover what I would call the rise of anime in pop culture at the turn of millennium over here. So we talk about things like recording Sailor Moon on your VCR. I talk about things like, okay, I want to see the original episodes now. How do I get them? And like navigating through getting fan subs as a teen and having to explain to my parents like, hey, can we go get a money order at the grocery store because I want to see the rest of Utena. I want to see the rest of Sailor Moon. I want to check out this thing called Magic Knight Rayearth. So this is what this book is all about. Like, what was it like just being a cringy teen in the 90s and early 2000s, just trying to navigate through all of this. So I guarantee you it is going to be a fun ride, especially if you grew up in this time. And if you're really interested in fandom history, this book is for everyone. So I highly recommend. All right, let's talk some day one. So day one, I arrive at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I was taking a train in from Orange County into San Diego. So basically what happened was I was dropped off at Santa Fe Station, took an Uber to the hotel, and like, okay, I'm at a downtown hotel that's 1 mile away from the convention center. I'm going to hop on the pink line to get to the convention center. And since the convention center is a mile away, I'll be there in no time. However, the pink line is no joke. If your hotel is on the pink line, you can wait upwards to 45 minutes to get to your destination. And remember, they drop you off at Petco Park. So on the last day, what my friends and I did, we just decided to split an Uber to the convention to save us time and to save us some walking. Because like by the end of the day, you're going to be really, by the end of the weekend, you're going to be really tired from all that walking. And like, I just did not feel like walking from Petco Park on Sunday to the convention center. So let's just take a look at some day one vibes here. This is the famous Comic Con vortex. You see this all the time, like posted online. I just refer to this as the Comic Con vortex. So yeah, this is what it was like just entering in. Also, I was very happy to see some familiar booths here. So we had Aniplex bring out their Demon Slayer standees. And also next to the Demon Slayer, the Aniplex booth was a pinball machine set up where I had to pick up some John Wick merchandise for a friend of mine up in the Bay Area. So yeah. Also, I stopped by the Mattel booth. The Mattel booth here had the Ken Mojo Dojo Casa House from the Barbie movie. I had to watch the Barbie movie again because like, oh my god, like I'm surrounded by Kenergy here. My only disappointment with this set is I want to get this up to like scale. I want to get like something for Ken size dolls to enjoy this because as someone who's a collector of Barbie on and off, like I was just disappointed that they didn't have this in scale for actual Ken dolls. Also, just some cosplayers from day one. Like I mentioned before, Hazbin Hotel was a very popular franchise. And also, I was just very happy to see like a Monica cosplayer from Doki Doki Literature Club. And this is a Monica. Sorry, no, that's not Monica. My bad. It's from Doki Doki Literature Club. The name escapes me. I just was very happy to just see Doki Doki literature in general. And like I just spotted her here at the Mattel booth with their WWE toys, and I just found that amusing. I was also at the Mattel booth, and one of the days, and this little girl was singing Kingdom to herself, like adrenaline in my soul, thing Cody Rhodes. Yeah, that song, and she was just kind of singing along. And when it got to the whoa, I just had to join in with her. And I think I scared her when I did that. So I got around later in the afternoon, and I wanted to explore the Hyatt because they had the Her Universe fashion show. So over at the Hyatt, they had like a few like Fallout themed like restaurants, and they had like Fallout themed menus. And I was curious to check out the one that was on the top of the floor of the Hyatt, and I thought it was gonna be entirely like Fallout themed because like yeah, I mean this place seems classy enough where you can kind of like do something from Fallout 4. You have the lounge singer in red doing something, and I was just kind of disappointed like, oh, it's just a drink and a dessert. And then I was also looking at the hotel lobby bar. They seemed to have like more going on because they had a Fallout burger, and they also had like a video of like the safety precaution videos from Fallout. I don't know. I was just kind of disappointed, and I was also feeling kind of down when I found out I could not get into the Her Universe fashion show, because I found out with the Her Universe fashion show you had to have a wristband to get in. For some reason, I thought the Her Universe fashion show all you needed to do is flash your badge, but apparently the Her Universe fashion show is considered an offsite, not part of San Diego Comic Con. So you had to like show up at the Hyatt like at like 11 a.m., 10 a.m. If you're really that committed to get the wristband to get in. And I hear like every year it just sells out just like that. So like R.I.P. me for not getting into the Her Universe fashion show. It was like the one thing I wanted to do on day one, and I was very sad that I didn't get the opportunity to do it. Also on day one, just some cosplay highlights of mother and daughter set from Final Fantasy VII. I was also very happy to see Marion and Willie from the Indiana Jones franchise. And it looks like here we have, I want to say it's Darth Bane. But it's like it really was just a really cool looking Sith Lord. So I was like, is this supposed to be like Darth Bane? So one of you Star Wars, correct me if I'm wrong in the chat or comments. And of course, you have your usual Comic-Con shenanigans. You have like the Spideys doing the reenacting the meme of pointing to each other. Always love seeing cosplayers do this when they run into duplicates of themselves. And you know what? My buddy Ramsey's here, and we decided like, okay, this day may have been a loss for us, but you know what? We're gonna go watch the Deadpool and Wolverine movie out in Fashion Valley. So we ended up doing is we just ended up taking an Uber over to Fashion Valley, and we just ended up getting dinner over at Silver Lake Ramen, and just ordered a bowl of ramen for each other. And like, okay, it was very delicious, and I think we just needed comfort food, just kind of like just after running into to like our disappointments. My disappointment, my Achilles heel that day was the Her Universe fashion show, and not being able to get a seat because I really wanted to meet other people. I actually made some friendship bracelets specifically for the Her Universe fashion show, and sadly I could not do it. And I was hoping to meet like other Swifties at the Her Universe fashion show, because I know there is a Venn diagram of Swifties and fandom girlies. So like I wanted to like make new friends. Alas. And yeah, this is just kind of like our general mood on day one, just kind of like just finishing up day one at the convention center. There was a quote here from Ramses, who was like, okay, so the gentleman in gray, I thought he was cosplaying. I thought at first, like, okay, is he Ernest Stavro Blofeld from the James Bond series or Dr. Evil? So I decided to just call out to him, like, okay, Blofeld, Dr. Evil. Like, he didn't respond to either. And Ramsey just took a look at him like, dude, he's just wearing regular clothes. Like, oh, snap. And then, like, both of us just kind of had that moment and look of embarrassment. And Ramsey decides to bury his head in the free bags, in the free bag that he got at registration. And as we were like just heading to our Uber pickup point, we saw people heading into Hall H to enjoy the Wolverine and Deadpool panel. And as you can see here, anyone who was able to get into the panel got that Wolverine popcorn bucket. And I thought that was amusing, just kind of like seeing people being all happy, like, yeah, we get to check out this panel and we get a free popcorn bucket. So Ramses and I, we did enter into the raffle to get into the Deadpool and Wolverine panel at Hall H, but we didn't get it. Neither of us did. Both of us decided to enter, but you know what? We took our Uber to Fashion Valley. We had our dinner. And you know what? We had an amazing time. I don't want to give out too many spoilers because the movie is still relatively new as of this recording, but we had a lot of fun, and I hope you will too. Also, before we get into day 2, I just want to shout out to one of our sponsors, Multitasky. Multitasky is one of my favorite office supply websites. You can get things like this light ring that you see here that I use to take photos of myself at, photos of myself at conventions. I also use this place to get my power banks. I also use this place to get cell phone holders. So I highly recommend checking out Multitasky for all your office supply needs. And you can use our code Cadillac Cats for 10% off your order. All right, on to day 2. So I also had a late start with day 2. I had to take care of a few things in the morning. And what I did was, how I kicked it off is I decided to just dress up like Beidou from Genshin Impact. And I went to my favorite place in San Diego, Cat Cafe San Diego. And at Cat Cafe San Diego, I got to hang out with some kitties, got myself some coffee. And you can see here, I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'm just Beidou, just hanging out with cats. And like for an hour, you can just hang out, pet cats, play with cats, enjoy a refreshment. And the nice thing about this place, it's within walking distance to the con. And speaking of Genshin, I had mentioned that MiHoYo did have a presence, and they also had a booth at San Diego Comic-Con. And this is like a photo experience where they take a Polaroid of you, or you can use your own phone here, like as I did here, and to take a photo with their Genshin cosplay team. So I ended like, well, I'm cosplaying as Beidou, I might as well just drink up my hearties. They were also selling some other things, and they're also giving away like a Paimon keychain, photo frame type thing, where you can like take the Polaroid photo they took of you, and you can put in that Paimon keychain. They were also selling some Paimon merchandise, so I ended up just getting myself a Paimon gacha box, where like Paimon is like disguised as food, which is funny to me because the running joke with Paimon is is emergency rations. So this is also a really fun experience too. All right, so I did also mention that MiHoYo did have a huge presence, so there's a lot of Star Rail merchandise and the other game that I'm not too familiar with, but everyone I know is playing. So you can kind of see here, and the nice thing about this is this wasn't too insane like Anime Expo, because over in the entertainment hall where we had Star Rail and other MiHoYo properties over there, it was like an insane like blockage for the entertainment hall because everyone was just all the way over there. But I felt like the MiHoYo lines were better handled here at San Diego Comic-Con. Also, I'm just visiting my friends here over at Cuento Comics. One of my favorite things about San Diego Comic-Con, one of the things I look forward to every year, is looking at their indie press section. The indie press section has always been a favorite of mine since 2008. So here, this is where I got to discover like just brand new comics, comics that are independently published. There's also some indie book authors here too. So I always like picking up stuff from here. Like I think, in addition to Cuento Comics, they produce a Filipino fantasy series based on the moon goddess Halia. So there was another booth not photoed here, where they were also selling Filipino comics from the Philippines and publish books, and I wanted to like, I totally forgot to pick up a few because they actually do have like some of my favorite boys love. I know if you look up like Filipino boys love manga, Filipino boys love like comics, you're really in for a treat, especially if you like monsters in your boys love, like as in like monsters, not in like, oh my god, this person's a monster kind of thing. And I did mention that there was like a John Wick pinball machine, which also amused me too. I also had to pick up like a vinyl at this booth right here of the John Wick soundtrack for a friend of mine up in the Bay Area who doesn't really do cons as much. So I also spotted a John Wick cosplayer, but unfortunately I wasn't able to get his photo. One of my things I really felt disappointed in myself was I didn't get as many photos as I would have liked to, and that made me sad. Also here, this is what the Barbie that they revealed at the Mattel booth on Friday. It sounded like there was going to be a big reveal on Friday at the Mattel booth. What was the new Barbie going to be? So it's that scene in the Barbie movie where Ken is serenading to Barbie. That one song that goes, "I want to push you around. I will. I will." I only know the version by Weird Al Yankovic because that's just how much I know. And I was just joking around, like if you've seen the movie The Fall Guy, I was joking around, I should get this Ken and give him a Miami Vice jacket. Also, just some more, let's just say day 2, my bad. So here we have like more Has Been Hotel cosplayers. We also have a Sentinel that was being pushed around. And then we have Bruno Sailor Mars. And this really amused me because like I'm a Bruno Mars fan. I saw him perform in Vegas. I'm also a Sailor Mars fan. So when you put my two favorites together, like, yay, that this is amazing. One of the things I like about Comic-Con is people are willing to take more risk into making very punny cosplays or make original cosplays without people like just giving them, a second look. So that's one of the things I like about San Diego Comic Con. Like people like do like a lot of original things with cosplay over here. And some of the panels I attended on Friday, the ones I wanted to attend were like later in the day on Friday. So my buddy here, Lorraine, and my buddy AJ were part of a panel called Writing Good and Evil. And this is a panel essentially on how to write antagonists and protagonists. Like, how do you frame out their motivation? And another thing that they mention is, like, in terms of the diversity, to really engage in conversations with marginalized groups to get a sense of authenticity. If it's not part of your culture, to try to get to know people like within that community. Try to hear their stories, hear their experiences, so you too can have a very authentic character. So I thought it was a very interesting and insightful panel to sit in on. I also checked out Olympia Entertainment's panel, and they were doing something on the Eraserheads. So for those of you who don't know, the Eraserheads, they're kind of regarded as the Filipino Nirvana. They came out like the same time as Nirvana, early 90s in the Philippines, because the youth was kind of sick of Gary V and a lot of the OPM hits that were just coming out, because that was just kind of like as parent karaoke music. And so along comes the Eraserheads, and they just pretty much are like this, like their own brand of Filipino alternative rock, Filipino brand of punk rock. Check them out if you have the chance. So basically my point being here is they were doing this documentary on the Eraserheads, on their influence in pop culture and music in the Philippines. And what Lumpia has to do with it is they're actually integrating the Eraserheads as part of their comic series. So they're taking like this classic Filipino rock group, alternate rock group, and they're making them into characters as part of their comic series. Also, I'm not really too familiar with the genre of music. I don't know if this is my failure as a Filipino card. They were also talking about musicians who like scratch records and stuff. I didn't know that was like a genre of music. I don't know. Maybe I'm just, this is like the Gen Z side of my personality talking right now. And they had like this person by the name of DJ Cotton Candy, and they were also talking about integrating her as a character in the Lumpia comic series to have like this female MC also as a character. So there, it seems like they're really integrating a lot of Bay Area Philippine American culture. Even though I'm, as someone from Southern California, who wasn't really listening to that music, or it wasn't really made available. Because remember, probably during this period of time, I was probably listening to Disney music, and sometimes Madonna, and sometimes whatever '80s music my parents were playing in the car. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting because we got to also see a trailer for the Eraserheads documentary, and we also got to see a preview of the first page of the script for the upcoming Lumpia sequel, Lumpia Must Die. And after hearing that, like, oh my god, Lumpia does sound good right now. So yeah, you can see here, you have like some legends here. You have DJ Cotton Candy of the Bay Area, and then you also have Wilshe Portacio. I hope I pronounced that name right. Creator of Bishop. I wanted to ask him because Bishop is black in the X-Men animated TV series. I'm like, hey, dude, is Bishop in the animated version? He's supposed to be Blasian because I still want Bishop to keep his Filipino roots and Filipino visibility, because I had no idea that Bishop was supposed to be Filipino, and I think that's awesome. So yeah, of course. And it was running like late in the evening, and all this talk about Lumpia, even like as a brand, even as a comic franchise, indie film franchise, just made me hungry like some pirates. So I decided, like, well, I could stick around and do the black horror panel because they were talking about themes in black horror, because I really liked the new Candyman movie and how that implemented a lot of issues and challenges the African American community was facing, and the integration of legend into the new Candyman movie. I really wanted to check that one out, but I was feeling so hungry that I decided to just DoorDash some Buffalo Wild Wings to my hotel room. Also on day 2, my buddy Professor Ramses ended up going back to the hotel early. And as he was on his way back to the hotel, he spotted a fire coming from the Iceberg Lounge. I guess it was like a Penguin Batman themed lounge in the Gaslight District. And then all of a sudden there was a fire. I mean, yeah, it was a legit fire, and since buildings in San Diego are so old, like, it's really easy for like accidents to happen like this, unfortunately. That's what my friend, Professor Ramses, told me here. But yeah, this is photos he took, and people were just wondering what had happened. Like, no, there was a fire over at the Batman Lounge, as hosted by the Penguin. All right, before we move on to day 3, Magic Candle Company. Save 15% when you use our code 815 at checkout. Magic Candle Company, this is one of my favorite go-tos for candles. I'm a candle girly. After all, I do live in a virtual cottage. So with Magic Candle Company, you can browse through different candles that have flavors inspired by various popular theme park attractions. So you have things like Extraterrestrial Forest, where you can smell the forest that E.T. stumbled upon in the San Fernando Valley of all places. And then you can also have scents like Haunted Holiday, where it's a scent of fog and gingerbread. And also one of my personal favorites, Pirate Water. If you love the scent of the Pirates of the Caribbean so much that you want to bring that home, yeah, get the Pirate Water room spray. I use that Pirate Water room spray all the time, especially when I'm cosplaying as Beidou. All right, day 3. So day 3, ended up just getting up bright and early, went to the Cat Cafe again. I was cosplaying as Ranma 1/2, and we decided to, like, okay, Cat Cafe, and let's hit up the con. So if you want reference to what I'm cosplaying as, because I got so many people asking me if I was Ariel, this is the version of Ranma I'm cosplaying as. Uh, yeah, highly recommend checking out Ranma when it comes out in October. You can watch the old series from 1989 on Hulu, but I would also recommend like just supporting the new series when it comes out too. But this is what I'm cosplaying as. I'm not cosplaying as Ariel. I'm cosplaying as disgruntled martial artist who has so many burdens put in upon themselves. Yeah, I can relate. So many crazy people chasing them around. And yeah, this is the version of the cosplay that I made. And I had to do a 1989 cover here because, yeah, my name is Rama Satome and I was created in 1989. So here's some photos from the cat cafe. Ended up just hanging out with our cat friends here. I also ran into Daniel from Cosplay Wrestling Federation. First I didn't notice him, like, okay, this is probably just some tax guy who has like a spouse with like maybe 3.5 children and maybe 2 dogs. Like, no, it happened to Daniel because I wanted to wait till I heard his voice first to know that it was actually him. Because I'm not used to seeing him in polo shirts. I'm used to seeing him in jorts and like graphic tees. Like, oh hey, it's Daniel. Like, if I hear his voice, I could probably confirm it's him because I didn't want to be an idiot and like assume it was him and like, yeah. So we are just kind of like this. We had like this whole thing. Like, wait, I wanted to say it was you, but I'm not sure. So both of us, we kind of had that going on mentally. But yeah, at the Cat Cafe San Diego, it's definitely one of my favorite places in town. All right, day 3. More day 3 cosplay. Speaking of Batman, we have like 1960s Adam West Batman here. We also have Duff Lady over here. Like I said, I'm always happy anytime I see Simpsons inspired cosplayer, Simpsons inspired fits, because I kind of felt, just looking back, that Simpsons was like one of my first fandoms, like growing up. And then we also have Dune. We have, geez, I keep forgetting her name. I'm just going to call her Zendaya. So we have Zendaya and a sandworm. I feel bad, like, yeah, take away my nerd card because I'm calling her Zendaya. Well, would you rather have me call her Sean Young? Also, some of the surprise cosplays I've spotted on day 3. The Queens from 6. I still need to see this musical. I'm probably going to see if I could catch it while I'm out in London, while I'm out in the West End. I've heard nothing good things about this. And this musical, it's about if King Henry's wives were idols. So take idol culture and mix all the wives he's killed and turn that into a musical. I really want to see it. Just also wanted to showcase just some other cosplays too. While I was waiting in line for my overpriced pretzel, I ran into these Marvel cosplayers waiting behind me. Yeah, I didn't really care for much for that pepperoni pretzel, but I needed something in my system because I knew we were going to have like a bigger dinner later today. And I'll let you know where we had dinner. Also, I was very amused to see Bloodsport figures. I might need these. I don't know if I need these in my life, but I do have a birthday coming up soon. So if you're looking for gift ideas, I will gladly not turn these away. Yeah, the movie Bloodsport has a lot of sentimental meaning to me because that was like my comfort movie during lockdown. And also like one of the movies that like nudged me to get into martial arts. And it's really funny because my sensei, Henry, would play like the opening credits to Bloodsport anytime we would like warm up and start training. Also, I attended the Over 30 cosplay meetup. I'm not in this photo. I decided to take photos when they started like, hey, if you're 40 and over, take a you can stay. So just ended up just snapping pictures at the Over 30 cosplay here. They also had a panel. I didn't check out their panel, but I always let them know like, hey, if you ever need a panelist, I'm always available. But it's just also just nice just kind of like meeting cosplayers your own age and knowing that you could still enjoy this well into your 70s, 80s, and 90s today. just a couple of cosplayers I spotted at that gathering. I always like highlighting unique cosplayers. It was really refreshing to see Metal Alchemist cosplayers. We had someone go as Reputation era Dazzler, which made me very happy because I'm a Reputation girly, and I know that the next run of Marvel's Dazzler is very inspired and very Taylor Swift coded. It's like, oh my god, she's wearing the they're wearing the Reputation bodysuit, and they have the Dazzler makeup. Like, oh my god, we can be friends. And then we have Elvira and the Bride of Frankenstein because we got our us ghoulish girlies got to represent. Also, just kind of just roamed around the dealer's hall more on day 3. One of my friends was coming in from Ventura, and like, okay, let's just take a look at just the dealer's hall, just kind of walk around and just kind of give him the grand circle tour of the dealer's hall. So he ended up doing the Doctor Who photo experience. And then, because my friend here is a huge fan of Megatron and especially Decepticons, you can kind of also tell by his shirt, like, ran into this amazing Megatron cosplayer. And then also, I decided to take a photo at the Barbie box here. And they're like, oh, hey, Ariel Barbie. I'm like, I'm Ranma Satome? Speaking of martial arts, I ended up running into my buddy over here, casting as Ryoga. So it was funny because they were posting on their social media, like, yeah, I'm here at the Cobra Kai booth. I'm like, there's a Cobra Kai booth? Okay, I'm costing as Ranma on Saturday. I need to get my photo here. And then his response was like, good thing you brought Ranma because I brought Ryoga. Do you want to like run around as Ryoga and Ranma on Saturday? Like, hell yeah, We'll run around as Ryoga and Ranma. So we ended up just taking some photos here at the Cobra Kai dojo. It's like anything goes versus Cobra Kai. And I ended up also getting a Cobra Kai bandana after taking photos here. Wearing Ranma was like a lot of fun, even though people thought I was Ariel. But I still had a lot of fun cosplaying as Ranma. Also, more importantly, I also wanted to highlight my panel in my Y2K era, anime fandom in the late 90s and 2000s at the turn of the millennium. This panel is essentially just highlighting my book. And fun fact, our panel was right above Hall H during the Marvel panel. So you can feel the vibrations from the Marvel panel right down below. And I was like, hey, everyone, are you enjoying your free foot massage? And then also, joining me on this panel is my buddy Geki and, again, Professor Ramses. And basically, they're assisting me because I also want to get their stories in. I mean, yeah, you can read about my story in my book by all means, but I also wanted to have this platform to be this platform to also have other people to share their stories of what it was like getting anime, accessing anime in the late 90s, early 2000s. So I asked questions like, well, what was the first anime you watched? But what was the anime that turned you into a fan? How did you get your anime? Like, how did you find out about your first con? What was your first cosplay and what did that entail? So just kind of like normalizing, like, yeah, like we too were cringe back then, but it's a special kind of fringe. We look back with sentiment and we kind of look back and like, you know what? I want to relive those days again. Just once to just kind of appreciate every moment of it and savor each second of it. So I had a fun time doing this panel. We had like a lot of people come up. We even had some Gen Zs and Gen Alphas come up to us after the panel saying like, yeah, like we learned a lot. We got a lot out of it and we will be pre-ordering your book. Because part of this panel was to announce that like my book is available for pre-order. So lifetime achievement here, one of my lifetime achievements, I have more to come, is presenting at Comic-Con and making a Comic-Con announcement. And all this time we were above Hall H. Also day 3, just kind of decided to walk around like just for a little bit, and then I have my buddy here, my buddy here, Cinnamon Roll with Deadpool and Wolverine cosplayers. So when I mentioned like I couldn't get a decent shot of them, this is what I meant, because I think my camera was dying by this time, and it was just already dark and the lighting was kind of funky, but I still feel that this photo is just worth showing, just kind of like my buddy here and Deadpool and Wolverine. And of course, we had to wrap things up at the Spaghetti Factory. It's always been a tradition at San Diego Comic Con to eat at the Spaghetti Factory. And we showed up, I want to say, like at 8:30. And at 8:30, we were able to be seated in less than 20 minutes. No joke. There's about 6 of us. We ended up getting a table, and we thought service was going to be pretty long. However, we were able to get service, like get our food like in less than 20 minutes. So it took less than 20 to get seated, less than 20 to get our 3-course meal, because damn, we deserve that 3-course meal. And that meal was very delicious. We really needed it at the end of the day. And I'm just very thankful that I'm just very thankful that like we were able to have this end of the day meal together, end of Comic-Con dinner together. All right, before we go into day 4, Convention Tea is brought to you by Max Sweaters. Max Sweaters is my go-to for cozy wear. You can get vintage-inspired cardigans, everyday cardigans, work cardigans, or just something to wear like just as you're lounging at home. What I like about Max Sweaters is that I can give you a 40% off discount off your entire purchase. You can get 40% off yemaxsweater.com. If you use our code YEMAC-DAMEASNABLE. All right, day 4. Day 4, we had to check out of our hotel. I forgot to mention that we stayed at the Residence Inn Bayfront, and this is part of the Pink Line. What I like about the Residence Inn, Bayfront, is I like that, like all Residence Inns, it comes with a kitchen, a small like stove to cook stuff, microwave if you need to heat up some leftovers, and a fridge to store like all your food needs. And this is very helpful for us because like I had leftovers from Buffalo Wild Wings. I was expecting leftovers from Spaghetti Factory, but I ate the whole thing. And one of the things I like about the Residence Inn is that they had like a lot of geeky murals. So you have like this OG Star Wars mural here at the elevators. And this just made me feel like nostalgia for a time when I used to be a Star Wars fan. And you also have this mural of like a lot of classic Marvel comics. And this would just make a really amazing selfie wall, but I didn't have a chance to take a selfie with this wall, but I just admired like a lot of the covers that were featured here. And one final look, browse through the dealer's hall. I think this is when Professor Rams and I were just kind of like just running around the dealer's hall. And this is just Monkey Island featured at the Star Wars booth. And it just kind of surreal, like, oh yeah, that's right. They own Disney. The House of Mouse owns Monkey Island now. I know, I was just amused just seeing this played at the Star Wars booth. And of course, this is Professor Rams over at the Hasbro booth with his G.I. Joe friends. And just kind of like just browsing around the dealer hall, just having one last look at it. We also had some Star Tours cosplayers. And the one panel I wanted to check out because day 4 was my League of Legends day, and I was very happy to finally do League of Legends and Arcane, this and that, at a convention. So I was cosplaying as Ari. I was cosplaying as Ari in Star Guardian's outfit. And Ramsey and I, Lucky and I, we were able to get seats for the Arcane panel. So the Arcane panel, it wasn't an official panel by Riot or Fortiche. It was just a bunch of fans who are working scientists who were talking about the science of Arcane. And even though it was a fan panel that kind of discussed themes in Arcane, I thought it was very interesting because it talked about how science is portrayed, how science, it can be, I'm just trying to word this right because I'm not really a science person. It was just mostly just focused on what progress looked like, the ethics of hex tech, and like, well, are we taking this this magic from like an indigenous culture, or is this like the right thing to do, and just also just the themes of ethics of science within the world of arcane. And I thought it was very fascinating, a very fascinating discussion, like magic versus science. I mean, you can like talk hours about the various themes of arcane, and I do appreciate that there was a panel that just like zeroed in on talking about like science ethics, its role, what happens when government takes over, what happens when you have bureaucracy take over. Thought those were very fascinating. And also, shortly after the Arcane panel, we had the League of Legends and Arcane cosplay meetup. So we had a couple. Well, we had more than a couple of Vi's. This might have been like the Vi cosplay meetup, but that's okay because we had a Poro, we had Jinx, and we had a Vox, aka me. So we were just kind of like just a handful of cosplayers just kind of getting together. We took our group shot, and of course, all the Vi's, they had to do this to each other. They did the Spider-Man pose. It was cool because, like, yeah, one of the things I wanted to do at San Diego Comic-Con was give away, like, friendship bracelets to any Arcane or League of Legends cosplayers. So I was giving away, like, friendship bracelets that had, like, song names from Arcane, like My Enemy or What Could Have Been. So I also had, like, friendship bracelets that had, like, Pow Pow, Get Jinx, Vi, Cupcake, references that you would find in Arcane if you've seen the series. And if you haven't seen the series, highly recommend checking out the series. Yeah, day 4 was just kind of coming to an end, and I actually do appreciate seeing this Cable, Peter, and Deadpool cosplayers from the second movie. I consider the second movie as like one of my comfort movies. I'm still deciding whether or not I like 3 or 2 more. It's still like in the process, like, okay, do I like 2 or 3 more? I mean, I have a special spot for 2 because I've seen it when I was in Germany. But I'll have to think about that one because 3 was still pretty strong. Without going to spoilers, I have my reasons for liking it, but we can discuss that next year. All right, one more sponsor. We have Ron Burgundy. Okay, it's not quite Ron Burgundy, but I wanted to give a special shout out to Cosplay Wrestling Federation. They are celebrating their 10-year anniversary. Follow Cosplay Wrestling Federation on Twitch, YouTube, and you can check out the best in cosplay sports entertainment. Cosplay Wrestling Federation, of course, has been around for 10 years, providing some of the top line comedy that the cosplay community has to offer. And for folks who run conventions, because I know you're out there because you tune into Fans View Fridays, invite us to conventions because we can guarantee you that we will fill up a whole room. We got your programming right here, and for a good time, call Cosplay Wrestling Federation. All right, let's talk some constructive criticism. Okay, where do I begin? I don't really have much to gripe in terms of San Diego Comic-Con. I just kind of, this is more on me than it really is on Comic-Con. I just kind of wish I knew about the wristband issue with Her Universe. I'm still disappointed I got to miss out on Her Universe. I think it's about time that Her Universe probably looks for a bigger venue to host her fashion show, because it's grown so much in popularity. I know there's only so much you can do with crowds. I wasn't really there for the Deadpool panel fiasco, so I can't really comment on that. But for the most part, people were generally nice. I think one thing I wish they would have done in the professionals lounge was to refill the water, because we were just relying on ice and it was just really hard to like get water from ice. Dealer's hall was pretty solid. It was really easy to navigate around. I know this probably can't be helped with some convention spaces and some convention scheduling, but there was a lot of panels in the evening that I really wanted to go to. Like I said, the Filipino martial arts panel was from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock in the evening. And like, if you were like earlier in the day, I would have gone. if some of these panels were just a little bit earlier, I don't know, maybe it's just like a me thing that it really is a Comic-Con thing. Or like, yeah, at the end of the day, it's just probably my choice. I just kind of wish like some of these panels were like held earlier in the day. As far as panel content goes, I really have no criticism because I really enjoyed all the panels I went to. I'm very happy to see a growing presence of Filipino content creators, Filipino creatives at Comic Con because, like, yay, my people. All right. Final thoughts on San Diego Comic Con. And for context here, this is me right after my book announcement panel with, I would say, my Cam Saunders and other guy with Cam Saunders at the Eras tour during just right before the I Can Do It With a Broken Heart set, when Taylor Swift collapses right after The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. And basically, Cam Saunders and the other guy just helped Taylor back up again after passing out after The Smallest Man Who Ever Lived. So, shout out to my Cam Saunders and other guy from the Eras tour here, because these two gents have been supporting me all the way since day one. So I really appreciate you being a part of this convention with me, being a part of my announcement panel, because it just really meant a lot having both of you there. But anywho, final thoughts on San Diego Comic-Con. I really enjoyed Comic-Con, like, even though I kind of felt like I could have done more, but I feel like every time I go to San Diego Comic-Con, like, yeah, I could have done more. Because there's so much to do, so much to see, and sometimes you have to sacrifice and you have to choose between two things that you want to do. I always wish I had more time for offsites. I don't know, maybe in the future I might consider just doing a preview day and just maybe just taking like Thursday, Friday, all of that off instead of doing a half day. I really enjoyed the places I found to take cosplay photos. So the front of the Marriott Marquis, there's like this jungle kind of area that's open to the public. And I also like their tropical themed their hotel pool, where I also got to take some photos of Ranma because the second movie takes place in a tropical island. And I'm like, okay, I got some amazing photos for this. Final thoughts. Wow, it's still been a week since Comic-Con. It still feels like a blur, but you know what? I had a great time. I always appreciate Comic-Con always asking us to do panels, to perform panels for them. I always appreciate San Diego Comic-Con for always inviting us because it's always a good time at Comic-Con. And you know what? I look forward to doing this all over again next year and hopefully checking out the Her Universe fashion show too. And hopefully this time next year, hopefully also just have a signing perhaps with Prism Comics, because like I'm just stepping into my writer era, and San Diego Comic Con is just now part of this new era that I can call my own. All right, with that said, thank you so much for being a part of my Comic Con recap. Very much appreciate it. Thank you so much for tuning in. And if you like what we do, you can check out our Ko-Fi. Our Ko-Fi is where you can donate however you like to continue to support us. Whatever you donate to our Ko-Fi, that can go back to paying off for parking, paying off hotels, paying off my credit card bill for San Diego Comic-Con. Because, like $300 a night at the Residence Inn is a lot. If you can help us out, that would be very greatly appreciated. Also, I have a birthday coming up this month, so visit my Throne wish list if you'd like to buy me a birthday present this year. In addition to that, if you like what you see here, hit that follow button. And I'd love to have you just show up to our streams, show up to my virtual cottage, and we can have some virtual tea together. I stream Fate Grand Order. Soon I'll be back on Final Fantasy XIV again, and I'll also maybe, just maybe, be streaming some League of Legends. In addition to that, if you also love what we do on our stream, you can hit that subscribe button and you can subscribe to our channel. And very soon I'll have cosplayable emojis that you can use if you're a subscriber. And with that said, thank you so much for checking us out, for visiting the virtual cottage at the Wisteria Witch. And with that said, we'll see you at the con.